So okay, so in this video we will explain a little bit about the API, how API works. So here is the API overview and how it's work. Today I will explain it. So API means application program interface. So this is not necessary to know the spelling or I mean full form of this API. Uh, so it's like a different software and applications talk to each other. Okay, so let's I'm going to zoom it a little bit. Okay, so uh, let's imagine there's a restaurant analogy. Okay, so you are a client or you want food to and you but you cannot go to the kitchen. So whenever you go to the restaurant, you didn't go to the kitchen but you want food, right? So there is a waiter. So waiter is a API. So waiter takes order from you and it's delivered to the kitchen, and the kitchen is a server. Okay, so kitchen prepare food for you and the waiter brings the food for you. So this is the basically entire things. I hope you can imagine how the API works. So API is a waiter. So API is a waiter. He prepare he just take the response or and he just delivered to you the food. So he takes response and he also delivered the response. But the server is a kitchen. So I hope you simply understood the API point of view. So how API works. So first of all, API, how API works, there is a request. So whenever client application makes a request to the API, and then the API receive the request and communicate with the server and or the database. Okay, so the response, the server process the request and send back the data through the API. So as I mentioned that API is a waiter. So whenever he prepared the food, he will respond it and he serve the food to the client. Okay, so there is a delivery. The API delivers the response back to the client. So this is the final output. So this is the basically way how API works. So there is a common example like a weather apps. So use API to get the forecast data. So we will create a weather apps using the API, and we will create a workflow in the automation workflow automation. I will share with you. There is a social media login. Suppose you put your credentials, and whenever you login buttons are used, APIs through the authenticate the user. So whenever you log in the social medias like Facebook, Instagrams, you using your username and password. Whenever you click the login button, the API take the response and he process the authenticate, and then he verify or yeah. So there is another API example, that is a payment gateway API. So there is another example is a Google Maps. So we will see that how we collect all of those data using API. Okay, so from the Google Maps, I will share with you guys. Okay, so here is different type of key point endpoint. So endpoint, the URL of where the API can be processed. API there is a URL for the endpoint. So there is a different type of method in the API. There is a get, post, and put, delete. So most of the case we use the get and post method in the N8N. Okay, so there is a header and there is a body and there is a response. We will see all of those things, all of those data returned, and usually the JSON format, JSON or XML format, the API use. So JSON, as we know that JSONs, we already know the things. So here you can see the visual example how API works. Here is a client and the API, and there is a server. So whenever we go to the request and its query, and then he gives the data and he gives the response to the user. This is the format of the response, like ID, name, example, email. So this is the basically way how API works. So we'll go through the practical way.